Okay, here we are. It's 12 noon. When I awake, I will see thy face. When I awake, I'll see thy face. When I awake, I will see thy light. When I awake, I'll see thy face. When I awake, I will see thy light. Mother, awake me from my dream. Mother, awake me in thy light. Hand in hand we're dancing together in thy light. Mother, awake me from my dream. Mother, awake me in thy light. Hand in hand we're dancing together in thy light. Dancing together in thy light. Well, right now here in the Ananda community of Linwood and the state of Washington, there ain't much light. It's just rain, and clouds all the way. But it's still time for Whispers from Eternity. And we've got a whopper for you today, which is to say, it's a little bit on the long side. It's also a whopper when you go deep into it, but I'm just thinking of its complete length. This is number 204. Yogananda calls this one Prayer to Men to Reach the One Highway of Realization. And as we start a new year, the affirmation to expand our consciousness, to expand our hearts, to embrace life as we find it and life as it is a perfect affirmation. Okay, so put on your seatbelts now. We're going to go on a highway of realization. So here we go. Ready? Flower of all fragrances, awaken our senses. Now that's interesting. Awaken our senses. I thought we were supposed to transcend them. Well, let's read on. I think there's more to it than that. Lead us not through forests of uncertainty, where many bypaths lead off in diverse directions, twisting and turning, though, as it were, hopefully past endless obstacles to thy city of light. Take us out quickly onto thy inner highway of realization, the spine, which leads directly to thee. Now we're getting into some deep waters. O thou unfailing beacon of light, send thy illuminating ray into the darkness of our ignorance. Show us the right way, and let us not be sidetracked by mere beliefs and dogmas. Help us to experience thee. No matter what our bypath of formal worship, guide us at last onto the highway of common soul intuition, which leads to direct perception of thee. Soaring high above narrow lanes of bigotry and lightly over the unyielding walls of religious prejudice, lift our souls safely up into thy free skies of bliss. And let us meet together joyfully in thy unwalled temple of universal worship, with its dome of the free sky not structured by man-made, man-interpreted, man-prescribed beliefs and limitations. There shall we raise chants of devotion to thy omnipresence, our hymns made sacred by the simple, direct sincerity of our hearts. Teach us to seek thee by paying careful, scientific attention, first to what actually lifts our consciousness, practical techniques of salvation that open our consciousness to experience thee. As we live today in a new age of energy, which has given us physical flight, meaning airplanes. After all, this is Seattle, right? Boeing's still here. So let us realize that we have it in us to guide our airplanes of thought high above the dark fogs of mere theological opinions, denunciations, and sectarian squabbling, to see the same one Son of Truth, in turn lighting city after city, country after country, continent after continent. Even so dost thou bless all equally with thy love, as with sunshine. O beacon of cosmic light, send thy guiding ray of divine understanding into the darkness of our ignorance, that our soaring consciousness may land safely, incarnation after incarnation, on terrain conducive to continued thoughts of thee. That's a meaningful prayer, particularly when one ends the final phase of life. I pray often to be guided back to the shores of self-realization in my next incarnation, if indeed I must. And O flower of fragrance, we're back to the flowers, send us the scent of love to inspire us always in our search for thee, with longing to climb over higher into the stratosphere of divine realization. May dreams of thy perfect garden, far above all time and space, but near to us always in our hearts, speed our soul's journey and quench our thirst in thee. Well, he was over the top when he wrote that one. We went from gardens to airplanes, oh my Lord, to continents and countries, and oy vey, as we like to say in Ireland. Okay, so here we are, beginning of a new year. What is he trying to tell us? I think immediately of how he quoted Lahiri Mahashai in the Autobiography of a Yogi, encouraging his disciples, his students, to put aside theological arguments and so forth. All traditions, with bar none, every major faith tradition, and probably all the minor ones too, but all of them are just rife with theologians and pundits and scholars, and they're arguing over all sorts of things. And, you know, I kind of enjoy a little bit of that too. So it's not like I want to put them down all the way, but because our intellect likes to have a little fun also. But truthfully, in a global world, in a world where all these people live together, work together, and so on, it's useless. It's bad enough within the sect of any particular faith tradition. There are so many sects and so many arguments, but when you put them all together, honestly, it really is hopeless. We do need to see the one highway of realization that unites us, and something more than the golden rule. I'm all for the golden rule. Place could be a paradise on earth if we all lived by the golden rule, but we don't. It's not enough. No, there's the delusions of our separateness and the impulse to get mine first is way too strong for the golden rule to really be effective. We need to be still and know. The mind's a great tool, the body and its skills and talents and art and science and business and all that good stuff. It's great, I guess. But beyond that, what we share is not even just our humanity, but that's good enough. We share consciousness, self-awareness, and the great gift, the treasure. It's like yoga, India is the guru of the planet. And notwithstanding Hinduism, which is, let's face it, a little complicated and a little distracting if you're trying to figure out what it's about and have it relate to other faith traditions, it's pretty hopeless. The monotheistic Abrahamic faiths are, they look at something like Hinduism and they just go berserk running out of the temple. So with all those idols and stuff. So it's not going to work that way. Think even of your political beliefs, since politics is a hot topic these days, right or left or in between, assuming, putting aside indifference, mind you, which is sometimes a pretty valid thing to have. But, just put that aside, because there are times when A society should be compassionate. There are times when society has to be just. So mercy and justice, which is to say left and right and, all those kinds of things, it's like the weather, right? It's got to rain, but it's got a sun too. So, don't be so committed to your gender, your gender preferences, all that stuff. It just drives people nuts because they cling to these opinions, but they're false. It's like quicksilver or sand in your hand. It just sort of falls out. I mean, just be still and do what seems right and true from the calm center. To go off in a different direction here because it comes back to my mind, he makes one passing reference to the spine. This is what yoga draws us away from the senses, away from the likes and dislikes, the opinions, the right and the left, the male and the female, the old and the young, the scientist, left brain, right brain, all that stuff brings us into the center. It's not a center of sleep. Sleep has its benefits, no doubt, and we all do it, but hopefully, but it's just not enough, okay? Because it's relatively, at least, unconscious. But in our center, alive and awake, conscious, still, this sort of smile kind of happens, this sort of heart like a lotus begins to, it's like, it's not, we don't meditate like this literally, but with the hands up on the thighs and sort of pull the shoulder blades back, relax. It's like the heart open, and as it rises, its natural fragrance of happiness, contentment, confidence, calmness just helps the face relax, the smile relax, the eyes to soften. You see, I'll leave in a little bit of this religion, quote unquote, a little bit of this daily practice of inner stillness can free us from dire fears and colossal opinions. My interpretation there. This is what we need in order to live together on this planet in harmony, is that if left and right, male and female, old and young, whatever it is, different cultures, if we can just be quiet, be still and listen. Swami Kriyananda, in his landmark book, Awaken to Superconsciousness, describes meditation as the art of listening. And for this new year, let's listen to one another, try to see where we're coming from. Wouldn't hurt, would it? Doesn't mean that both sides are equally right in a given circumstance, particularly when there's heated emotions there. You can be sure there's something needs to be knocked off the pedestal there, unless it's truly a kind of righteous self-indignation, which has its place. But nonetheless, if more and more, I'm going to end this here soon, but I am extremely hopeful because notwithstanding the negativity of a lot of things that happen, that's never been untrue, right? There's just a whole lot of positive thinking and acting and scientific experimentation towards things like climate change and health and well-being. There's so much going on that's positive. It just doesn't make as much noise as negativity. Okay? So let's look for the positive signs, but let's be still and learn to listen. Listen and then feel. Remember those old railroad crossings? Stop, look, listen. I would say stop, look, listen, feel. Meaning not react, feel. Calmly feel. Okay, I want to close this with a couple of announcements, so to speak. We have, what is today? Monday. So Wednesday night, we begin the first of 4 Wednesdays and then periodic Wednesdays throughout the year where we share with you excerpts from one of Swami Kriyananda's 150 books, especially those that are perhaps lesser known and not as central to the self-realization teaching. So this Wednesday night at 7 p.m. in the Zoom room, my neighbors and friends, Rebecca and Bruce Davis, are going to share excerpts from the book, Hope for a Better World. And then it goes on from there. There's also a worldwide health initiative, Recharge, coming out of India, but all over the world with presenters. You'd have to find it on the anandaindia.org website or our website too, and emails. This is a landmark initiative by people as varied as Dean Ornish, but it's not just Ananda, it's worldwide health authorities, as you were experts in yoga and aspects of health for a new year. Okay, I'm going to shut it down now and take a look at this. And tomorrow you'll see Padma at 12 noon. Here we go. Going to count down